Flex Reliable Administration Solutions Software. Software is a service for use by the Gila County Sheriff's Office for a 3-year term from November 18th, 2025 to November 17th, 2028 for an amount not to exceed $79,975.88. And in Payson, we have Cole Labonte. Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman, supervisors, members of the board. Can you guys hear me okay? I just want to make
Yeah.
sure I'm talking loud enough.
Yeah, we're good.
Good? Okay, so I am presenting, so it's a 3-year contract. What this is, it's a contract with Motorola Solutions for a vendor called Reliable Admin Solutions to provide administration service to this, to help us with our CAD and RMS server that is the data repository for all of our dispatching, jail records, police records. IT has some very intelligent people to help us with this, but because this product and the support needed for it is very, very unique, it's in our best interest, especially since we've got a lot of other departments and entities that use this software to make sure that at any given moment we can apply the best resources to fix an issue. We've been contracting with Reliable Admin Solutions for, I want to say we're going on our fourth or fifth year using them. We love their team. We love the people they have. They wake up at midnight, 2 in the morning on weekends when there's an issue, and they're on the phone and dealing with our IT folks and me to get things fixed anytime, anywhere, whenever I need it. So this allows us to continue using them to provide support for all of our users and keep everything functioning properly. So it works out to be in $26,658.62 a year. There was a significant cost savings for us by doing a 3-year contract. That's why we opted to do that this time around.
Okay, thank you, Cole. Supervisor Humphrey, anything for Cole?
Humphrey.
No questions.
Oh, he is on the phone, isn't he?
I'm sorry, Supervisor, you said what?
No questions.
No questions. Supervisor Klein.
No, I don't have either. Thank you, Cole.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I have no questions. I'll call for a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve quote 3241246 with Motorola Solutions Incorporated as presented.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Unanimous. Thank you, Cole.
Thank you.
Item 2B, information, discussion, action to authorize the advertisement of request for proposal number 08072025 Gila County Emergency Operation Plan. Good morning, Carl Melford.
Morning, Chairman, Supervisors. This is a request for bids. We're seeking a qualified consultant or vendor services to assist us with the kind of revamp, rebuild of the emergency operations plan. This plan is typically approved, it's required to be approved every 2 years. We oftentimes update it and bring it forward for approval annually. It did have its review for this year. This is for the 2026 revision. We're required to add quite a bit, some out of just legal requirements, but the majority of it updates with information and new processes that are built and established during emergency responses. So it tends to be the more active that we are as far as emergency response goes, the more best practices get put into writing and added into that plan. So this is going to be a hefty revision, so bringing in a consultant to do that would be the best route with our current capabilities within emergency management.
Okay, thank you, Carl. Supervisor Humphrey?
No questions.
Supervisor Klein?
Carl, I hear what you're saying, but I have a hard time thinking that there's anybody out there more knowledgeable about this than you.
Well, I appreciate the compliment, sir. It's not just about the knowledge; it's about the technical abilities, the technologies that they have, and the time that they have to put in. They'll usually assign a team with expertise in specific niche areas of emergency management that have the resources to gather the information and work with us, and the abilities to put that into writing and build that out for us. So don't think that it's taken away from our abilities, but more so just giving us an additional partner to work with on a project.
So you're still gonna be a integral part in this process as it
Oh,
goes
absolutely.
on? Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you, Carl, for all you do, and I'll call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to authorize the advertisement of requests for proposals number 080720025 as presented.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Unanimous. Thank you, Carl.
Thank you.
Item 2C, information, discussion, action to accept a grant award from the Arizona Companion Animal Spay Neuter Committee in the amount of $10,000 that will be used to expand Gila County's discounted spay neuter services for a period of 1 year. Doesn't look like JC's here, but we have Josh.
Good morning, Chairman, Supervisors. Yeah, if you don't mind, JC's out hunting today, so I will take this if you don't mind. So we apply for this funding every year. We've had this conversation before with the Board of Supervisors. We could budget to try to take care of more of the spay and neuter costs for the county. Part of it's just making sure that we want every pet owner to have that personal responsibility of knowing that these are costs that come with their pet. But at the same time, we also understand, being the animal control agency for the county, that is kind of our role to lead the, the cheer, lead the cause of making sure the animals are spayed and neutered. So we apply for this every year so that we can defer and have those costs so that the general fund's not taking care of this. So most years we get it. Last year we didn't, so JC was happy that we got our full funding amount that we asked for again this year, and that's pretty much it.
Okay, Josh, thank you. Supervisor Humphrey?
No questions.
Supervisor Klein?
So our discussion last time, Josh, was if we could throw in some extra money, because the 10,000 that you guys have been receiving, you still can't cover. You probably couldn't cover all the animals if you had twice that, but if there was a way of adding additional money to that, it would help. And I believe Joe looked into that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, because it's been a while, but I believe we can do that if we want from our constituents fund, right? So how would we be able just to go directly to them, or do we have to do it in a meeting like this, or how?
Probably the best mechanism is to do it by way of an economic development agreement, as you have with other.
Okay.
We've been able to assist some of the local schools, some of the local high school and student-led clubs and things like that for activities that they engage in, and making sure that animals are spayed and neutered is something that makes a community more attractive, and so that can be deemed an economic activity that is approved for use of those funds, the lottery funds or whatever other funds the board has available.
Okay, so what we'll do is I'll work with Kathy and we'll roll that into an economic development grant, and then maybe the other two supervisors may or may not be interested in throwing in, and we'll just work it from there.
I mean, I can say.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'd like to very much. As a matter of fact, yeah, Supervisor Klein, thanks for bringing that up, because I remember last time that came up, when we asked about it, and Joe said he'd have to check. So yeah, I'd be very much interested in dealing with that.
I was just gonna say, I do know that all of the events that they hold are always, all the spots are always taken, so
Yeah.
we certainly could continue to fill more spots.
Okay, so we'll work on putting that together and roll it into the next meeting, whenever it is.
Okay, so I'll just follow up with what, so this 10,000 is a number, so what would be a more ideal number?
I would have to say it depends on what percent of the, I mean, we could probably go all the way up to 30, 35 if we really wanted to do every single pet in the county that we could have spots for. So it would depend on what, at what level, or do we start means testing people? I mean, I would just ask for more direction on at what level you'd want. Right now we don't means test. Basically, if you get a time slot in one of the events, you get your dog, or cats or whatever taken care of. So we would just need a little more direction on what level you would want us to take it to.
Okay, all right. That sounds good. So 10,000 is kind of grossly short of what we need. Okay,
So if we could double that money, that'd be a start.
a double would be a good amount, right? Okay. So, all right, well, that's guidelines. That's great. So with that, I'll call for a motion then.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to accept the grant award from the Arizona Companion Animal Spay and Neuter Committee in the amount of $10,000 as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you, Josh. All right, let's move on to 2D, information discussion action to approve the use of Help America Grant Act grant funding from the Arizona Secretary of State's office in the amount of $85,253.41 and Elections Department funding in the amount of $58,713.59 to purchase electronic poll tablets and ballot on demand printers from election systems and software for polling sites in Gila County in the amount of $143,949. Good morning, Eric.
Morning, Chairman Christensen, Supervisors Humphrey and Klein. Come for you today. As you see here, we have received some funding, and just a quick update on this. HAVA funding is a Help America Vote Act from 2002, and it is funding that is given to the states through the Elections Assistance Commission, federal funding. And once the states get that money, the Secretary of State, like for Arizona specifically, they take that funding that they have received from the federal government, and through a formula that's primarily based on voter registration numbers, they go ahead and they divvy up that funding to the counties. Obviously, the larger the county that you are, the greater the funding that you're going to receive. So one of the sub-grants that we had in here was for the $85,000, which in May I went ahead and filed so that we could receive it, so that we could purchase updated equipment for our election systems. Initially, it was looking like our grant funding was going to be able to pay completely for the equipment that we needed. However, the legislative session, as you know, went a little bit of extended time there, and just after I submitted the money for the grant, they passed some different legislation. And the legislation that they passed is a procedural thing at the polling locations to check in early voters in a different fashion, people who have their early ballots. So that kind of bumped up the cost. That's why we're taking that funding from the Elections Department. It's, I guess, what you refer to as an unfunded mandate, that we have to have this equipment at the polling locations to check in voters who are bringing in their early ballots to verify on the spot, so that they can hopefully speed the process up. So that was a wrench that got thrown into the works there that kind of, okay, it's going to cost us a little bit more. So that's why that amount went up. It wasn't able to be covered completely by the grant. So that's where the money's coming from, and of course our general fund from our department budget, and it is to implement our upgrading of our equipment. When we first purchased this equipment back in 2016, it had a 10-year lifespan that was projected, and it has served us well, and it has performed well. The last election, we started noticing a little bit of significant issues with the tablets. Some of them were delaying in their uptake of information. But since we had backups, there wasn't really a problem for us at all. We just switched them out as we could. So with this funding, we are hoping to go ahead and acquire new updated tablets, and of course additional ballot on-demand printers, so that we can go ahead and continue our operations in a smooth and efficient manner for the citizenry of Gila County. So I'm here seeking your approval.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Supervisor Humphrey.
No questions.
Supervisor Klein.
I'm good, thank you, Eric.
Okay. So, Eric, just to clarify, because of voting is always a contentious topic.
Hot topic now, yes it is.
So I just, this is something we've used in the past.
Yes.
How much of this is new to us as far as a change in machines, policies, or?
Nothing. Actually, if anything, due to the, how shall we say, elections enthusiasts who have issues about
Enthusiasts, that's a word.
One of the things that has changed in this particular equipment is that in the past, our ballot on-demand printers were connected, were Wi-Fi'd into the tablets, so that there was a signal that was sent out and caused the printer to activate and print the ballot. Because of the security concerns now, and that's why the increase went up, because we have to secure a printer for every tablet that we have. In the past, we had one tablet that was, we could have like 3-4 tablets slave to one printer through the Wi-Fi. but because of the concerns about, well, somebody could intercept that signal could be degraded or something like that, which had never happened in any way, shape, or form. But ES&S, to ease the minds of administrators throughout the country in regards to that particular security non-issue, they have gone ahead now, and we have a hardline hookup from the tablet to the printer, so there's no more of the up and outer space kind of thing that people can intercept.
Right, no Wi-Fi.
That's the only change.
It's direct contact.
Right, so that's the
Okay.
only change, but apart from the tablets and the printers, BODs, that's not gonna be, the only thing that'll change is in the instructions, instead of a Toshiba tablet that we initially utilized, and that company is no longer around any longer, these will be Surface Pros from Microsoft products, and they'll have the same standard setups that we have with our tablets, the old tablets. It's just a different brand, and just an update is all that it is.
So it could be safely said that we will be as secure as we
Yes.
have been or
Yes.
more.
Yes, because
Okay.
the equipment that we're purchasing, it has to, like, that's been certified for the state and stuff like that, so
Okay.
it's not an issue there.
Thank you, Eric.
Mhm.
Appreciate all you do. With that, I'll call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve the use of Help America Grant Act grant funding from the Arizona Secretary of State's office in the amount of $85,253.41, and Elections Department funding in the amount of $58,713.59 presented.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Supervisor.
All right, so our next item is 2E, information discussion action to consider both options presented by county staff and provide directions to whether staff should proceed with either the formal solicitation request for proposal number 0723-2025 or approve a contract number CTR 061840-GC1 with the S.J. Anderson Company to complete demolition of the metal storage building located at the Russell Gulch landfill. Good morning, Olivia.
Good morning, Chairman. Good morning, Supervisors. I am here before you today to talk about the demolition of the metal storage building out at the Russell Gulch landfill. Back in September, Facilities and Land Management Director Joseph Dickinson came before you with a formal solicitation, a request to advertise a formal solicitation for the demolition of this building. And at that time, there was some discussion about whether the building might have some resale value or, if there were other options that might be available rather than straight demolition of the building. And so that item was tabled, and staff went out to find an engineer to assess the building and see what options might be available for this building. The assessment came back and said that that building had reached the end of its useful life. It should not be resold. And so we are looking at moving forward with demolishing the building. Now we have two different options in front of you, procurement options, for how to move forward with that demolition. The first is doing a formal solicitation, like exactly the solicitation that we came to you with in September, with the exception of having to change the dates. That solicitation, there are some pros and cons to that solution. The pro would be that there is a well-defined scope of work in that solicitation that the potential bidders can use to come up with a solid price estimate for what that would cost. And that could encourage local contractors to submit bids for this project. The big con with this is a potential timeline issue. Because of the sensitivity with the need to expand Cell 3B, there could potentially be some issues if this project ends up getting delayed. We do think that we have addressed the timeline issues as best we can. We can get the bid advertised as early as next Tuesday in the Payson Roundup, and we can do the bid deadline as December 18th. which would allow us to come before you in January to award the contract. So the work would not be able to start until January after you award the contract for the solicitation. The other option is to go forward with a State of Arizona job order contracting contract with the S.J. Anderson Company. The pros to this is that as soon as you approve that contract, we can reach out to the vendor and get that signed and get started, you know, probably with presumably a December start date on starting that work. The disadvantages of potentially using this is that the scope of work is not as well defined in this job order contract. So there is the possibility that the vendor could come back and say, well, there are several other things that need to be done. We need to do a change order, and that could increase the cost of the project. And then we would have to come before the board to do an amendment to increase the contract amount, which could delay things further down the road. So I have asked Joseph Dickinson and Public Works Director Christine Smith here to answer any questions that you might have regarding the job order contract, regarding the project, the timeline. I'm here to answer any questions about the solicitation or the procurement process.
Okay, thank you, Olivia. Supervisor Humphrey.
But yeah, I have a couple of questions. Even if you go out for bid, they can find something wrong to need change. I mean, we've been through that a million times.
Certainly.
So, you know, where I am is kind of with our timeline, with the expansion of our landfill. I kind of like the state contract so we can get going. Yeah, there may be some flaws that they could, you know, say that it wasn't there. But even if we take the time to put it out for bid and get 3 different bids and have the scope of work, you know, then that can always change as well. So, you know, for time, I would like to see us be able to go with a state contract and get that down. And while I'm speaking, also too, I'm wondering if IT could call me back on a different number. I'm in my personal vehicle. I'm having a difficult time on the county phone understanding a lot of what's going on because there's a lot of background noise and stuff on the phone. And so maybe on my vehicle with the speakers, I could hear better if they could call me back on my personal phone after this item, so perhaps I can hear a little better going forward.
Okay, we will do that for you, sir, after this item is motioned and voted on. Supervisor
Thank you.
So I have a lot to say about this. One thing is I don't want time to back us in a corner for a bad decision. And so I read the report from the consultant on the structure. It was bogus. They went in there and walked through that building and talked about oxidized metal, fasteners, meaning bolts that weren't adequate to bolt it together. They talked about the footing, had no idea how deep it was. Who cares? The building's coming down. The building is red iron. It never said anything about stress fractures or breaks in the metal or anything like that. So with that being said, I don't want to see us just tear it down and throw it away. It does have to be dismantled. It does have to be pushed out of the way. I get that. But it needs to be done in a fashion that we can go ahead and auction it off in an auction as somebody else can do it, use it somewhere else. It's a shame we don't step up to the plate and use it ourselves, because it really is a very good building. And I think we wasted a lot of time and more effort on this consultant walking through and giving us that evaluation. There's no way you can look at something like this from just a visual standpoint unless there's some real obvious issues with the building. And none of what I read said that. And so in my mind, I know we have to get it out of the way for the new cell. I understand that. And I don't have a problem contracting it out to somebody who's gonna tear it down, bundle it up, and store it somewhere so we can auction it off. I don't have a problem doing that. No way am I willing to vote for a state contractor to do that. I'm not going to. That's just gonna cost us a ton of extra money, and we know that, we can see that. I agree with the extent of Supervisor Humphrey, there could be something that could cause a change order from a regular contractor, but at least a regular contractor might be from this area, to where somebody here locally might be able to benefit from the dismantling of this building. And so, I think, Mr. Chair, as far as I'm concerned, there's discussion that needs to be done on this building. That, report came out for all of us to see, and like I said, I read it, but since it's been out, we haven't had a chance until now to discuss it. And so, I don't put 2 cents into what they say as far as that building goes. And that's pretty much where I'm at, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Thank you for that input. Olivia, this is a concern, I think, for all of us, that if it's something that can, okay, so I'm just gonna say that the Tono Rim Search and Rescue Group, which is part of the Sheriff's Department, part of the county corporate structure, could use a building like this in Payson because they've been given land to build a building on, and they need a place like a garage, they need covered, they need some things like that. And if this building is usable enough for that, we wouldn't have to auction it, we wouldn't have to guarantee it, we wouldn't have to warranty it, we could just gift it to the Sheriff's Department for them to take care of. That would be my thought of how we could best use this building. So we're talking about a month difference between the state contractor starting in December or another RFP starting in January.
Yes.
1 month. How critical is that month to the vitality of Russell Gulch landfill?
I would defer to Christine Smith for that.
Okay. Well, we'll put her on the spot. Because we know that Russell Gulch right now is critically ill.
Yes.
So can you explain what a 1 month delay would mean to the expansion of that?
So where we sit today, every month is critical, especially with the amount of debris that has been taken in the last month in particular. As you know, we've had it studied, and the estimates for when it will be full have come in. They are expecting by the end of the first quarter, we'll be full.
Okay.
This building, and I know there's a lot of different options, needs to be taken care of. Whether it's disassembled and moved, or somehow packaged, or if it has to be demolished, which would be unfortunate, it has to be moved. And the sooner we do it, the better. And part of the reason I say that is because of the unknowns. It's been there a long time. We don't know what may be discovered that might impact the schedule for the cell. So that's the other aspect as well. We are working more with the landfill material to try to continue to increase compaction. That might buy us a little bit more time, but ultimately, if we fill up, we'll have to do what was done several years ago, which is transporting those materials to another landfill. As you know, that's costly between transportation and tipping fees. So
How long will it take?
timeline is very important.
So once you start on the expansion of cell 3, how long before it's ready? Like, is that a 2-month project, 1 month, 3 months?
What do you mean by shredding?
Well, so we can't start on that till the building's gone.
Correct.
If we wait, so once we start on it, how long does it take for cell 3 to get ready for
To open,
it to open?
that is anticipated, I believe, to be 2 to 3 months. Okay, 3 to 4
3 to 4 weeks,
months.
months, and we're gonna be full somewhere around April. Okay,
March, April, yes.
March, April, okay? All right,
Mr. Chair, if I may, this building should have been torn down in phase 3A. And it never got done. 3A The footprint of 3A was size was not to where it should have been. That building has been a hook for a long time. And the reason we keep delaying is then we had to get an engineer to come and look at it to see if it could be torn down and reassembled. That's just more time. So now if we're gonna tear it down and somebody take it down piece by piece so it can be transported, then that's a whole nother scope of work. Who's gonna write that scope of work? How long is it gonna take to write that scope of work before we can even get the job out for bid? Okay, yeah, because that's all got to be taken care of, and then where's it going to be delivered? Even if we give it to whoever we give it to, what's our liability in them re-erecting that building? This building just keeps going on and on and on, and believe me, that's why I had the recognition of the landfill people, because they are working on a shoestring to keep our landfill open, and here we are stubbing our toe on a building again.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Klein, any more to add?
Well, I go back to what Olivia brought up. I mean, that's one contract you said you could have it out like next Tuesday.
Yes.
If we were to do.
Go ahead, finish, no, finish what you said.
So, I mean, the scope of work, I mean, to me, I hear what Tim's saying, but I also know that I got some other beliefs on this building too. And he's right. That building should have been taken down a long time ago. My idea is quite simple. You hire a contractor to tear it down, package it up and set it aside, wherever that may be. And then we auction it off to whoever. Maybe it's to your group for whatever money. We don't have liabilities in that. I see where we have no liabilities. That's all on them. If they want to erect it and use it again, that is up to them. But I don't see wasting the building. That's a huge waste. That's we looked at building a building in Young for veterans that was 3,000 square feet and less, and I had dollar marks of over $3 million to build that building. This building's 50 by 100. We have a building identical to it sitting in Young right now. And you take something like this building that somebody may be able to use, another group, here you go, it's gone, it's out of our hair, versus them, let's say, having to look at that kind of money. That's a huge, huge difference. That's a huge difference for us. And so I just see where, my personal opinion is, I don't see why it'd be that hard to get a contractor on board to disassemble this building, get it out of our way, and get the sale. I don't see where it's that hard. Anyway, I'll yield to Joe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to point out that the original RFQ in this matter did have a provision that asked the contractor to salvage and recycle metal and other usable materials. And the statewide contract for S.J. Anderson doesn't address that particular aspect of the request for proposals. And so that would be a change order for S.J. Anderson if we wanted them to salvage and recycle material.
What kind of price did they give us on their proposal?
S.J. Anderson,
The S.J.
158.
Anderson is 158,000 and change.
Okay. So just to be clear, Joe, if the contract is awarded to S.J. Anderson, could we request then as part of that contract that the red metal be disassembled rather than cut into pieces?
Yes, and that would be processed via change order.
Okay. That could possibly cost us more.
The S.J. Anderson contract doesn't align with the request for proposals that was originally placed and advertised.
Well, yeah, this is what happens when we get backed into a corner with time and money. So if we don't get the expansion done in a timely fashion, then that's when dollars start flying around again to transport and stuff. So we got strong feelings on this, and we're going to have to vote on it. So If there's no other discussion at this point, I'll call for motion.
What we do, flip a coin on the motion?
So if I understand, Olivia, the clarity that needs to be determined at this point is whether or not we would award it immediately to S.J. Anderson with a change order requesting that the red metal be salvaged rather than destroyed. We would save a month, and it possibly would have to spend more than the $158,000.
I believe that what we could possibly do is if the board decides to move forward with the JOC contract, we could possibly have Mr. Dickinson and his team go into Gordian and see if they can plug that in to get an updated quote, and we can proceed with the contract that way, rather than necessarily doing.
Rather than the unknowns of putting it out for an RFP.
Yes.
Which will take longer, and we don't even know what that would cost.
Right.
Okay, at this point.
Right.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
We wouldn't even know if we voted on this motion to go with Anderson and state contractor, we don't know what that cost is gonna be when we ask them to salvage that building.
Correct.
So, I mean, that's like, we're gonna sign a blank check and hand it over to.
However, can we, not to address that, but can we then refuse to pay the extra that they're, in other words, if we say we'd like it done and then the number comes back, we don't like that number, we can say, okay, don't worry about it then.
Well,
And then we got more delays and more delays and more delays.
Right?
I believe that I would probably have to bring a new contract to you, and that would result in a delay.
Okay. Supervisor Klein, would you like to make a motion?
No. But one thing I do want to address on a new contract is that we don't have to wait till the next scheduled meeting to address a new contract on. If there's something that comes up of importance as this is, we can hold a special meeting, Mr. Chair, and address whatever we need to address. So,
Yeah, but it's gonna take a contractor now, a time to come to Globe and look at it and rebid it. We're looking at a month just in getting a bid back from somebody on disassembling it as gently as they can. And if we wait a month for them to get back with a bid, then we might not like the bid, or it might not include what you want to, and then we're a couple more months off. Guys, the people of southern Gila County need that landfill. I mean, it's got narrowed down to where it was taking 45 minutes to an hour to get a load of garbage there, and we got pulled out of that. That's why I did the employee recognition, is those guys gave their all to buy us all the room they can, and we're running out. All over a building that should have been torn down a long time ago.
I don't know if this additional context may be helpful, but I have submitted an agenda item for the December 2nd meeting for the solicitation for the Cell 3B expansion. So that will be coming before you on December 2nd, and then that will be advertised, and we are looking at I believe a January date to open those bids. So that, just to give you a little bit more on the timeline for the Cell 3B expansion solicitation.
So, Mr. Chair, what I'll do is I will make a motion, but don't be surprised if I don't vote for it.
Okay. That's fine.
One more time before we go. Okay, we're trying to start the expansion on the landfill. Is the contractor doing that expansion? And would that contractor be willing to add that to his bid on doing the expansion? So that way, you know, we're just working with one guy to do all the work and not trying to do everything else.
We would have to make sure that that is included in the scope of work, in the solicitation that goes out. I have
Was
not-
it not? Because in order for him to do the expansion, that building was there. So did he already include that in his expansion with it being there? Or was he told that we would have it removed before he could start his construction?
This is a solicitation that hasn't gone out yet. So we would be setting the conditions when it goes out to, for the solicitation.
So if I understand Tim right, and I think I do, but correct me if I'm wrong, Tim, you're saying do a package deal, remove the building and do the sale, one contractor.
Yeah, because then they can get started on stuff while they're demoing that instead of us fiddle around through more contractors, through everything, waiting to get rid of that building. I mean, it should be in the scope of work for the expansion with that building there because, I mean, whoever said that it would be torn down before we did the second expansion? And is that scope of work already written to go out to bid, or does that have to be written to go out to bid for the expansion of cell 3B?
I have not yet received this scope from Public Works for the expansion. I do have the scope obviously for the building, the demolition of the building. I would be happy to provide that scope to Public Works so that they could see about integrating those two.
Mr. Chair, if I may?
Sure.
We're putting Olivia on in a pretty bad spot, but if Christine could come up here and let's talk to the Public Works lady about this. Give Olivia a little bit of a break.
Thank you, Olivia.
Christine, let me ask you. I understand what Tim's checking into. That almost seems to me would be kind of a way to speed it up a little bit, if anything. There's one contractor's going to get it, whoever that is, and in that scope of work, they're going to remove the building to whatever extent, you know, is decided on, and they're going to build the cell.
I do believe that's a very valid option. And even today, if you decided you wanted to move forward, I think we could work within the JOC language. However, packaging it with the same contractor, I think makes a lot of sense. It also gives us time to look at the scopes, and we could put a couple of different scopes out there as part of that bid package, so then we'll have the final numbers, whether it's disassemble and reassemble, or at least get it off the property. Or if we have to, maybe demolish it. If there's a $50,000, $100,000 difference, then we can make the right decision at that time. They also potentially could hire local contractors as subs for that work, but that's a business decision.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, if I may, I would not put in a contract to reassemble it. I would not put that, because that has nothing to do with the expansion of our landfill. I would put that it needs to be demoed and maybe stacked somewhere, you know, for whoever gets it can haul it off or whatever. But I wouldn't get into reassembling it at all. But I'm just trying to help Supervisor Klein with getting the building used by somebody rather than cut up into scrap metal. Okay, that's fine. But like I say, if we do it all once, then we're not waiting for 4 or 5 bids. We're just getting a bid to do cell 3B, and disassembling that building is part of it. And actually it is, because the building is standing right there in their way.
So, Supervisor Humphrey, I agree with what you're thinking, and I do agree with the idea that it possibly could speed us up a little bit even, and buy us some time. It seems to me like it could make sense. You got one contractor with people and equipment on board instead of 2. They can go with it. And then the fact is, if they just piled it up on the side, you could work with it from there. I never would have agreed with us reassembling the building. That's something that I don't agree with. The building needs to be repurposed if somebody wants to repurpose it, but not at our expense and not at our labor. So, but Tim, I agree with you on the packaging up and one bid. I really do.
Yeah, because then our expansion's not waiting for someone to remove the building. Our expansion is waiting for them to get us a bid and them get a check.
Yeah. And so if we did that, Olivia, working with Christine, how long would it take to get that out?
Well, I have on the agenda for December 2nd already a request to advertise.
Okay.
I haven't completed the solicitation yet, but as soon as I get the scope of work, I can complete that solicitation and attach it to that agenda item. And then we would go out to advertise right away, upon approval of the board, of course.
I'll second that.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Oh, jeez.
Okay. Let's do,
And Joe's over there shaking his head, I'm sure. Oh, jeez.
so, let's do a more formal, motion. That,
Not so sure.
Mr. Chair, I think we can probably just table this item.
table the item,
Discussion,
and then,
this one, and December 2nd, we'll bring it back with the more encompassing scope of work to.
okay, I'll call for a motion to table this item, and staff will then proceed as directed, during this discussion.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to proceed that way, and all those in favor say aye.
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 Very good, okay.
Thank you.
Yes,
Can I express appreciation to Mr. Albo? This all is very rushed, and we're pushing this through. Mr. Albo is very busy, and he's taken time to ensure that we're getting these things through. So I just wanted to express appreciation for our county. Thank you.
yeah, and that was a good alternative to the discussion and the process. That was a good alternative, so sometimes the light shines a little brighter from that. We're going to wait for a few minutes until this connection is more solid.
I can hear you. Let's try it again.
I can hear you a lot better. I hope it's better speakers than it was on the phone.
Can you try and speak real quick, if he can hear you any better?
Yeah, can you hear me okay, Supervisor?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, good. All right, then we are good to proceed. All right. Item 2F is information discussion action to adopt resolution number 25-11-02, which authorizes the execution of intergovernmental agreement number 25-0011326-I with the Arizona Department of Transportation for a Pinal Creek Bridge number 1 at Abiquiu Trail. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and board members. So this is a request to enter into an IGA with ADOT, and this is for an evaluation and scoping of an this will be under an off-system bridge grant with ADOT, and this is for Pinal Creek Bridge number 1. So our amount is going to be approximately $8,550, 5.7%. And then the grant amount is $141,450, and that's 94.3%. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Sure. Thanks, Tom. Supervisor Humphrey, any questions?
Yeah, what's this the bridge for, Tom?
So this is the Pinal Creek Bridge number 1, and it's an evaluation of the bridge, whether it needs to be fixed or replaced. And this will be.
Okay, is that up at the end of Six Shooter Canyon?
So this is at the crossing of Abaquai and Hicks Crossing.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Supervisor Klein?
Abaquai Trail and Hicks Crossing is in Wheatfields, huh, Tom?
Yes.
Okay. And did it receive a lot of damage during the floods?
It's currently rated in fair condition under the ADOT inventory. And so we're not really looking at it from the flood damage. It's just an older bridge that needs to be looked at.
Thank goodness it's not a new one. It might have washed away.
Right.
So, thank you, Tom.
No questions, so with that, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to adopt resolution number 25-11- as presented.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. Got another one, Tom. 2G, information discussion action to adopt resolution 25-11-03, which authorizes the execution of intergovernmental agreement number 25-0011327-I with the Arizona Department of Transportation for Pinal Creek Bridge number 2 at Hicks Road.
Yes, thank you. So this is Pinal Creek Bridge number 2, and it's at the in the same location, approximate location. And again, this will be an off-system bridge grant administered by ADOT. In this case, our estimated cost will be $9,120, and the total amount is $150,880 estimated. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Tom. Supervisor Humphrey?
No questions.
Okay. Supervisor Klein?
Is any of this money gonna come back to us from FEMA or anything from the emergency standpoint and the declarations on this?
No, sir, not for these two off-system bridge grants.
So the flooding had nothing to do with us needing to go in there and evaluate these bridges?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tom. With that, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to adopt resolution number 25-11-03 as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Very good. Thank you. Item 2H, information discussion action to approve contract number CTR 059323-GC3. It's the purchase of 2 new Ford F-150 crew cab trucks with Santan Auto Partners, doing business as Santan Ford, in an amount not to exceed $114,604.70 for a term of November 18th, 2025 through March 16th, 2026. Good morning, Mr. LaForge.
Morning, Chairman, members of the board. So I'm here on behalf of the Probation Department's request to purchase 2 half-ton pickup trucks. These trucks will replace 2 vehicles currently in use by the Probation Department that both exceed the age requirement for replacement and both have 120,000 or more miles on them. These trucks will be utilized by the Probation Department to travel to rural and remote locations to perform field supervision of clientele on roads and terrain not meant for sedans and small SUVs. These 2 trucks will be replacing 2 current SUVs, but we opted for pickup trucks due to some of these probation employees are bigger guys, and then you throw on a vest and the gear that they carry, and we thought it would be better to give them more room in the cab. So that's kind of why we opted to go with pickup trucks instead of like the sedan or the SUVs that they currently have. These 2 trucks will also be equipped to tow cargo trailers that they use for firearms training and community work. On a side note, as previously requested by the board, I went out and I researched different manufacturers, different dealerships that have state contracts, and I did do I did a basic spec sheet. I just asked for a half-ton pickup. I didn't specify Ford. I didn't specify anything too descriptive. So I did get 3 quotes. I got one from Santan Ford, Superstition Springs, Courtesy Chrysler, Dodge, and Jeep, and Sands Chevrolet. Of the 3 quotes, the Superstition Springs courtesy Chevrolet Dodge Jeep did come back with the lowest bid. It was for a Dodge Ram 1500. But I am recommending that we stick with the Fords and go with the second lowest bid, just the F-150. And there are many reasons why we should do this for standardizing our fleet. You know, we've kind of informed you before, if you'd like me to go over those reasons again.
Okay. Thank you, David.
I'll take any questions that you may have.
Supervisor Humphrey.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot of information in front of me, but I would like to see what you got back from the Chevy and from the Dodge. And, you know, like I said, in good stewards, whether we drive Dodges or whether we drive Fords, I don't think it makes a big bunch of difference because you don't have a whole bunch of parts anyway. And so I would like to see the difference in the paperwork on what you put out and the bids you got back. And so when you get that information to me, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I could definitely send you. I did a basic spec sheet, and I sent the same spec sheet to all 3 vendors. And so they all had the same guidelines to go by. And the Dodge Ram came back at $54,361.75, and the F-150 came back at $57,302.35, with the Silverado coming back at $57,930. So I mean the Silverado and the F-150.
Okay, yeah. If you could send me what they gave you would be fine with me.
Okay.
Just get it to Terry Links, please.
All right. Yep, I can do that.
Thank you.
Supervisor Klein.
You know, we've had this discussion many times over standardizing trucks and whatnot. Right now is kind of an option to try something else. We're looking at 2 pickups.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, I love my little half-ton Ford. I really do. But that doesn't mean that little half-ton Dodge isn't just as good. And Tim touched on something we go out and get all the parts we need, whatever. For either truck, I don't see that problem. So I'm kind of a little bit more in favor of trying something different. And for just 2 vehicles, this could be the time to give that a try and really see. Probation isn't going to beat them up like I do on this truck going back and forth to Young. They're not going to do that. But they're still going to put a lot of miles on them. And so it might be worth a look to look at. That's all Mr. Chair.
Thank you. So David, besides just the parts, what about diagnostic equipment, et cetera, that would be crossing over from one brand to another?
Yeah, so right now I pay about $3,000 a year for a subscription that's a training program that's actually, it's Ford. It's Ford's training program. When I was a mechanic for Ford, this is the exact same training program I use. So our training is directed towards Ford. So the basic stuff, the oil changes, the general maintenance and services, I mean, once you have that down on one make, you can pretty much figure out on all the rest. I mean, there is something to be said where I've done 100 oil changes on an F-150. I can definitely do those 15, 20 minutes faster than I can one that I've never done before. But when it comes down to the real diagnostics of some of these Fords, I mean, they're so different in how they're set up. They got so many computers, and without having the actual tool to do the job, sometimes having the generic tools like we have, it takes the job, makes it a lot longer to diagnose. And you know, one thing about having one vehicle or one make or one model is you kind of become a master of all the issues, all the problems that they have. And let's not kid ourselves. There's no one make or brand out there that's going to be perfect, that's not going to have issues. They're all going to have their issues, and by us sticking with one brand, we kind of become masters of all the problems that they have, and we're able to turn around our diagnostic time faster.
You know.
I'm for whatever you guys want to do. If we want to try something new, I would support that. But the reasoning why I've been wanting to standardize is just for the technician's sake and for getting the turnaround time, and I think it benefits Gila County where we can have quicker turnaround times on some of these more complex diagnostic issues that we have.
Okay, you went through a long deal to fight me again. Okay, what is the warranty on the new vehicles? How many miles? How many years?
They're all the same across the board on all of them. That's 3 year.
How long? How long?
3 year, 36, 3 years, then 36,000.
Okay, so if it's under warranty for 3 years and how many miles?
I believe it's 36,000.
Okay, so how much work are you going to do on them while they're still under warranty?
You're absolutely correct, but at some point they won't be. But for the first 3 years, yeah, we will have warranty, and they'll take care of them.
Okay, and again, what's the turnaround in your shop? How many of them are going to get professional by the time they leave your shop anyway, on any vehicle?
I'm not sure, but like if we have all Fords in the trainings with Ford program, I mean, we can do really well on being prepared for most things. So
let me ask one more.
Go ahead.
So the $3,000 savings with the Dodge, that's about a $3,000 difference in the vehicle. Do you feel that we can capture that $3,000 over time and keep it? Or do you think that it will whittle away with additional purchases we may need in order to handle that? Is that something over the life of this truck that will be of a benefit, or will we end up spending that $3,000 and more? What is your best guess on that?
I firmly
Do I get to guess too?
Well, I firmly believe it would be cost benefit to stick with the Fords, because over the life of the vehicle, we will save money on the repair and maintenance of it, on just in diagnosis time and repair times.
Okay. Supervisor Klein.
My guess is I disagree.
Mr. Chair, David, what I've kind of watched, you know, and like you said, the simple things, I think doesn't matter what nameplate stuck on the vehicle. I agree with that. It seems like when it gets a little bit more in depth, we send it to whatever, you know, a Ford dealership or whatever to get it fixed. Because as you well know better than any of us sitting here, you're doing really good to open a hood on one of these vehicles and find where you put the oil in, you know, and the idea of working on them is just horrible. And so I understand where you're coming from. My thing is there's not a big difference. $3,000 isn't going to make or break us on either truck, but this is an option we have to try something a little bit different without getting into anything special or any more money out of the blue and stuff like that. That's what I'm looking. I've owned both of them. I've owned all three of them, and all three of them break. And so, but it does give us an option to check something out a little different.
Okay. If there's no other comments, then we need to decide whether we're going to make a motion on this, because we don't have before us an option. Or do we, Joe?
I can make a motion without it being on writing.
Okay, all right. I'll accept a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion, we go with the lowest bidder, which is the Dodge.
I'll second that.
For purposes of the record, that's Santan Auto Partners, DBA Santan Ford.
So moved, Mr. Chair. DBA
I'm sorry,
Santan.
wait a minute, it's courtesy Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. The seller for the Dodge pickups.
Okay, we'll add that into the motion. Thank you, Joe.
All right, the motion's been added to. Do we still have a second?
You do.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
That was more interesting than I thought it would be. All right, item 2J, information discussion funding agreement number 519-26 between the Arizona Department of Housing and
No. Aye.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry.
It's David's again.
Yeah, I got goofed up. I already scratched you off. Thank you for clarifying that. You almost got away, didn't you?
Tried.
Information discussion, this is item I, information discussion action to approve contract number 100924-AAC-GC1 with Agile Fleet Incorporated for Fleet Commander licensing for the term of November 1st, 25 through October 31st, 26, and an amount not to exceed $64,469.90. David.
So this is for our Fleet Commander program that we use in the shops. It has become an essential asset to General Services since its introduction in 2018. It's used by every employee in General Services, and for the most of us, it's used on a daily basis. It's used for running reports, billing of services, and record keeping of information and data. So just a brief summary of everything it does. We use it for documenting and tracking vehicle and equipment repair and maintenance, vehicle maintenance reminders, diagnosing vehicles by researching past repairs, tracking parts inventory, tracking fuel usage, tracking technician time, billing for services such as repair and maintenance, motor pool rentals, and vehicle leases. And by utilizing the kiosks that are associated with this Fleet Commander program, we have these at various strategic locations around Gila County. It has made renting a motor pool car and keeping track of these rentals much simpler with much less human, input, and it has made it just so much easier for the General Services team as well as our customers. I'll take any questions if you have them.
Thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
Does it work on all makes of vehicles?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Supervisor Klein.
This has been a big asset to you guys, I know that. And so keeping up with the amount of vehicles and equipment that you have, absolutely. I don't have any question.
Okay, and with that, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve contract number 100924-AAC-GC1 with Agile Fleet Incorporated as presented.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Very good. Item 2J is information discussion action to approve funding agreement number 519-26 between the Arizona Department of Housing and the Gila County Public Health and Community Services Department to receive $10,000 of the COC Continuum of Care Planning Fund and $54,000 of the Housing Trust Fund to be used through June 30th, 26, whereby the department will act as the lead Gila County COC and build capacity for activities, discussions, and meetings directed at ending homelessness. Joshua.
Thank you, Chairman, Supervisors. So with the government shutdown, we were running a little low on funds to make sure we could keep all of our staff. So since this is state level money and not federal money, we reached out. We haven't asked for additional funds for this in a while, so we reached out and asked for some additional funds. Obviously, it's going to let us have these different coalition and statewide meetings that we do. It'll help with the pit count that we do for homelessness each year, and more than anything, it was an opportunity to reach out and just get additional funding so that we could keep the staff that we have.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
No questions.
Supervisor Klein.
So Josh, this is a big deal. Back in the beginning when I came on board is when we pushed and got the COC Continuum of Care. Mm-hmm. And so from what I've watched through time, it's kind of grown from that. And so like our pit counts, you can hear other activities, discussions, and meetings. That's a big plus. But I think, in my opinion, for me, what I'd like to see is where are our numbers, and are we seeing any changes? Are our numbers going up? Are they going down? How many people are we actually helping, and things like that? And I think, with this money and everything going forward, that's one thing I'd really be interested in seeing you bring in front of us.
We have a work session prepared. We're just waiting. When we have one, we're happy to get on that agenda with
Cool.
the pit count from the last couple
Yeah,
years.
because I just don't know where we're at with all this. And I read the deal on the pit count, And so I think they were looking, for somebody or extra help for the youth homelessness, which is a really tough one. And so I'm real interested in all those numbers.
Okay, great. I don't have any questions, so I'll call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve funding agreement number 519-26 between the Arizona Department of Housing and the Gila County Public Health and Community Services Department to receive $10,000 of the Continuum of Care Planning Fund and $54,000 of the Housing Trust Fund to be used through June 30th, 2020, as presented.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you, Joshua. Item 2K is information discussion action to approve an intergovernmental agreement contract number CTR 079041 with the Arizona Department of Health Services and the Gila County SNAP Ed projects funding in the amount of $236,524 for the period of December 1, 25 to September 30, 26.
So up until this year, we have had a supplemental nutrition assistance program education grant. It was unfunded through the federal government this year, but there's still a few $1 million in rollover funds at the state level. Since we already have the grant and IGA in place, I looked at the list of projects. One of the projects that they had that we could spend rollover funds on was Safe Routes to School. So as the supervisors know, we have a Safe Streets grant going on right now, and they align pretty well. So the Safe Routes gave me the opportunity to kind of tack on to that Safe Streets grant, except for this gives me the opportunity to give a rather large chunk of money to each one of the schools to help us with this project, which is money that I know that the schools could really use. So it's a lot more of a project-based grant where, you know, like the flashy light things for bikes, cones, looking at sidewalks, ways to make it safe. So it's a really good project for the schools, and it was easy money to get, so.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
No questions.
Supervisor Klein.
I'm good, thank you, Josh.
I as well. I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve an intergovernmental agreement, contract number CTR 079041 with the Arizona Department of Health Services as presented.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Item 2L, information discussion action to approve amendment number 3 to service contract number 062922, the weatherization materials and services with Advantage Home Performance, extending the term of the contract through October 30th, 2025, and increasing the term amount to $350,000. Is that date correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So-
Post-mortem. Okay, Josh.
So this is our contractor, again, not a local contractor. It's out of Chandler. I did want to say, in all the frustration that even I have sometimes, that this is more for Supervisor Humphrey specifically, that I honestly cannot believe the amount of residents that have worked with this contractor that come to our community services department and not brag on us, but brag on this contractor and how great they were at coming in, leaving their house clean when it was done, following up to make sure the projects were done. So I will say they give great customer service, and even I am impressed with how happy the residents have been that have had them come into their home and do these weatherization projects. But we upgraded that. We just extended this through the end of this fiscal year. As you know, we want to go back out to RFP for this again. We still to this day haven't had anybody complete the classes that they really need to complete to put in a bid on this. We continue to work towards that, and until that time, we'll just keep extending it for small amounts of period at a time, and hopefully that will appease the board members and everybody while we wait to put this out to a full bid again at some point.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
Hey, I don't have any questions today.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Klein.
I guess I don't either. Thank you, Josh.
I'll call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve amendment number 3 to service contract number 062922 with Advantage Home Performance Incorporated as presented.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, Josh, one more, 2M, information, discussion, action to approve the award of contracts for design, site, and soil investigation and installation services in response to request for qualification number 08142025 for the Pinal Creek Waterway Cesspool Project. And that will be to Premier Environmental Products, LLC, McConnell and Associates, PC, EarthQuest LLC, DBA EarthQuest Plumbing, Black Mountain Excavating, and Wilbanks Excavating LLC for the term of November 18th, 25 through September 30, 26, with total aggregate compensation for all contracts not to exceed $423,728.
Chairman, supervisors, so if you look at this list, they're all local contractors. We have 2 engineers, 3 soil evaluators, property evaluators, and 2 soil evaluators and 3 installers. So the goal now is to go full into this, and we've got people signed up for the beginning and to try to get this project done as quickly as possible. We have Manny Bowlers here from ADEQ, and for those that know, we've been working specifically with the governor's office on this, and Manny's getting pressure from the governor's office as well to make sure this project goes really well. And one of the biggest things for us also is this is a good representation for the work we've been doing with CSA, with WIOA, and with AZ WIFA to remove the boundaries that keep us from getting grant funds or 100% forgivable grant funds. So all this should hopefully be a good project to show how well this can work, so that when more future funds come down, that we'd be able to continue to place cesspools.
Thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
No questions.
Supervisor Klein.
I'm glad to see the list, Josh. I'm really glad to see the locals participating in this. And this is a big, or has been a big conversation piece. I've had legislators reach out to me already on this. And so I'm hoping it'll go forward, that we can show how it's all gonna work and the benefits, and hopefully we can build on that for another round later. But anyway, thank you for putting all this together and staying on top of it.
Yeah, thank you, Josh, and thank you for coming today. So with that, I'll call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to award the following contracts in response to requests for qualifications number 08142025 as follows. Premier Environmental Products, LLC, McConnell and Associates, PC, EarthQuest, LLC, DBA, EarthQuest Plumbing, Black Mountain Excavating, and Wilbanks Excavating, LLC, for the term of November 18th, 2025 through September 30th, 2026, with total aggregate compensation for all contracts not to exceed $423,728.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Very good. Item 2N, information, discussion, action to determine the price for Gila County to purchase assessor's tax parcel number 205-29004S that is owned by the state of Arizona in care of the Board of Supervisors for a purpose related to transportation pursuant ARS 42-18303E, and sell the subject parcel to Gila County, authorize the removal of this parcel from the online auction list, and authorize the chairman's signature on the related quit claim deed. Charlotte, what do we have here?
Good morning, Chairman and board members. So once a year, the treasurer deeds over properties to the state of Arizona, care of the Board of Supervisors, when the property owners haven't paid their property taxes for 7 years. When the clerk of the board receives that information, we will review it and give it over to the Public Works Department, and they will review those properties to see if the county, city, or any special taxing district can use them for the purpose related to a public purpose related to transportation or flood control. This piece of property can be used for a public transportation purpose, and it is located on a Kachina Trail, which the county already maintains. On September 16th, 2025, this agenda item was presented and tabled. Mr. Albo wanted to do some more research on the sales price for it for $1, and the current lien amount is $566.03. This agenda item is before the board to determine the purchase price. The lien amount is the $566.03, which includes a $200 treasurer fee and a $50 clerk of the board fee. Minus those two fees, it is $316.03 for the purchase price. And that would be able to be appropriated out to the special districts.
Okay, thank you, Charlotte. Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions.
Supervisor Klein.
So I take it this is just an easement, Supervisor Humphrey, that we're getting, or?
No, this will, actually give the county control of all of the road that is currently known as Chena Trail out in these fairgrounds area.
Oh, okay, okay.
Thin parcel that runs along that road, but is actually part of the road that has been maintained by.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah, I have no questions. Sounds like we're just cleaning up some of our stuff. And so with that, I'll call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to sell assessor's tax parcel number 2052904S to Gila County in the amount of, what'd you say, 300 and?
$16.03.
Yeah. And authorize the removal of this parcel from the online auction list and authorize the chairman's signature on the related quitclaim deed.
Okay, before I second that, I don't have a map, because like I say, I'm on the phone. This is where? I mean, I got a parcel number, but I don't have a map of where it is.
Chena Trail. Out by the fairgrounds.
It's out near the fairgrounds.
Oh, okay. Is it behind the fairgrounds? Is it off of Homestead?
Mr. Albo, do you have any way to do?
A public street, and there are some residential structures along Chena Trail. If you look at the agenda item, there's some residential structures, mailboxes, and other things along that roadway. So it's in the vicinity of the Gila County Fairgrounds, where residents are located, I believe, basically to the north of the fairgrounds.
It appeared to me as it's just part of an existing road. Correct. It's just the side, the very edge of the road that we're purchasing.
Correct. It's a long strip that runs along the length of the Chena Trail roadway.
Right.
It's 27 feet of Chena Trail.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Very good. On to item 2O. Information, discussion, action to appoint Ms. Sylvia Hernandez to the Gila County Personnel Commission effective November 18th, 2025 through December 31st, 2027. Supervisor Humphrey, this is your item.
Yeah, it was just time to put someone on. This person, I believe, was recommended by Kathy. Is that correct, Kathy? You can nod your head. But
okay.
Anyway, yeah, and so yeah, anytime we can get somebody to volunteer for some of our extra committees that we have, I think it's a great thing. So that's all I have.
Okay, Supervisor Klein?
No, I'm good.
I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to appoint Ms. Sylvia Hernandez to the Gila County Personnel Commission effective November 18th, 25 through December 31st, 27.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Very good. I will move on to item 2P and call for a motion to recess as the Gila County Board of Supervisors and convene as the Gila County Board of Equalization.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Item 2P is information, discussion, action to receive and accept Board of Equalization Hearing Officer H. Charles Johnson's recommendation for petition for review of notice to change for the tax year 2026 hearings that were conducted on November 7th, 2025. Charlotte?
Good morning, Chairman and Supervisors. The Board of Equalization received 2 petitions of notice of review of change for tax year 2026. The hearing was held, and the hearing officer heard from the petitioners and the assessor's office regarding parcel 305-19013. The hearing officer upheld the assessor's evaluation, so no change was made. Regarding parcel 303-15001Q, the hearing officer upheld the assessor's revised opinion of value. The assessor agreed with Mr. Johnson's decisions, and per the agreement, the BOE with the hearing officers, the BOE's review of the hearing officer's decision is limited and can only be overturned if he violated state law or procedures.
Thank you, Charlotte. Supervisor Humphrey?
No questions.
Supervisor Klein?
I don't have any questions.
Me, I do not as well, and so I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to accept the Gila County Board of Equalization hearing officer's decisions regarding appeal hearings that were held on November 7th, 2025 for tax year 26 property valuations.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Very good. I will now call for a motion to adjourn as the Gila County Board of Equalization, reconvene as the Gila County Board of Supervisors.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second to approve. In favor say aye.
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 Moving on to item 3, which is our consent agenda items. They're items 3A through 3F. Supervisor Humphrey, would you like to discuss any or more of these items separately?
No, I'm fine.
Supervisor Klein, same question?
No, I'm good.
Okay, I'll call for a motion to accept the consent agenda items 3A through 3F.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Very good. We're on to call to the public. Anyone here in Globe that wishes to speak before the board? Doesn't look like it. Cassandra, wait. How many do we have today? Excellent. And Lisa, you look lonely. Thank you. All right, move on to our reports. Manager Menlove.
Mr. Chairman, last Friday attended the county managers and administrators meeting, CSA. Tomorrow night, be attending the small counties meeting at down in Phoenix at CSA, and also CSA board meeting on Thursday last week. I wanted to, a few weeks ago, I neglected to mention that I had attended a ribbon cutting for a new road, that had new paved road down in Hayden-Winkleman area, and it was a spectacular event. They sent me with pins, so I'll give those to each of you as boards so that you can help commemorate that wonderful event down in Hayden-Winkleman. I did want to, there's been a question about our work session meetings for next week, and there's a conflict with one of the board members for holding that meeting, and if it would be all right, we'd like to reschedule next week's work session meetings to a subsequent time. If there's any questions, any thoughts on rescheduling that, I would appreciate those thoughts.
Well, being the chairman, we need to have a full board to discuss the items that were mentioned. And so, yes, cancel next Tuesday. However, I believe I'm willing to accept any other days of the week besides Tuesday that we can add in or make our Tuesdays longer if needed.
Have a break for lunch and then have work session
Correct.
in the afternoon or something of that nature.
We need to be about the business of the county, so whatever that takes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right.
So we will, Charlotte, go ahead and cancel next week's work session, and want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving throughout Gila County. We are still recovering, and wish everybody the best, and enjoy your time with families and friends through this holiday season. So thank you, Mr.
Good.
Chairman.
Thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
Yeah, I don't have much going on. I don't know, I guess what's on the work session for next week is I don't know the importance of it. And apparently we just canceled it. So I guess I have no choice but to be in agreement because I don't know what's on next week's work session.
Yes, sir. The next week we were going to be discussing procurement, and we were also going to be discussing, what else was it?
The 5-year plan.
The 5-year plan. And Supervisor Klein is unable to be here next week, and I think it's important that we are all present for that discussion.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. I was not aware that he wasn't going to be here either, so, okay, that's fine.
Do you have a report, sir?
I don't.
Okay, Supervisor Klein.
So thanks for putting off next week. That'll be good. Week ago, I attended WIR Zoom meeting, had good discussions on that as a recap from the California meeting, and went well. And then last week, I got to sit in and be a part of a discussion at the vet center with Kathy and Lacey up there from Wounded Warrior Project. Andrew, one of the directors of that. That was a really good discussion. And other than that, ECO meeting tomorrow, CSA meeting the next day, and go from there. Thank you.
Very good. So yesterday I was on KMOG, my regular monthly. It went very well. If anyone knew Bill Armstrong, he's a local legend, I guess you could say, up in northern Arizona, especially with the rodeo, been the rodeo boss for decades. And he passed away, and they had a funeral for him at the casino. And it must have been clearly 350 people there or more. So quite an influence on the local area there. And so I was able to attend that. And also attended the Rural Groundwater Group meeting that was held in Mesa, and that was on Thursday or Friday. I can't remember, Thursday or Friday. And I had mixed feelings about it. The point of the group is to try and look at solutions for Payson's rural groundwater issues. And some of the counties have significant issues where others don't. There was a lady, her last name is McDowell, and she works with the U of A water resource deal. And she produces this document, which I'm happy to give to anyone that likes it. And this one specifically says Gila County. There's 15 of these, 15 different reports, and they give little charts, pie charts, and different things about supply, demand, use of water, agriculture, blah, blah, blah. And everyone is unique, everyone is different, every county has its own situation. So the state of Arizona was there, and quite a few supervisors were there from other counties. So the feeling that I got that it was fairly weighted toward the more liberal approach to water management, which is what the governor is attempting to do by appointing AMAs and just designating them in areas she feels at risk. There was some discussion about the pros and cons of that, and one lady that lives in Wilcox, which there is an AMA in the Wilcox area. The AMA has the ability to stop any future irrigation development, and they felt that that was helpful because of the amount of water that is being pulled out of the aquifer, which is very significant and troubling. But then it also hurts small business and small property owners. This woman, actually, she was on a discussion panel. They own a winery, a vineyard, I should say, in Wilcox. And they want to expand. And they are a low water usage company. They use drip. They want to expand, they just, I don't know how much, they want to expand a couple acres, 5 acres, doesn't matter. And they're frozen in that. Their property rights are literally taken away with no way of dealing with that, because the state just determines that's the way it's going to be. So I believe that there's going to be some legal challenges to the way the governor is operating it at the moment. If the governor is reelected, I can anticipate that she will continue to be doing more and more of this kind of thing. And so I had the opportunity to speak. Unfortunately, I was the last county to speak. And so we had Shirley Dye and Andrew Costanzo was also there, and they spoke. But I was able to express that each county is different and that they should be considered different. In other words, the one size fits all, which the state guarantees they're not going to do. And also the local control, which what I meant by that was the Board of Supervisors controlling what goes on in the county when it comes to the water, which we don't right now, and which the state is not willing to give up, that would be a consideration so that anything that is done in the county would have to pass through, at least at some level, the Board of Supervisors approval. And instead of the proposed situation where the governor appoints citizens that she recommends to oversee the development of the various management objectives. Gila County is very unique in that, and I just think that that is not the proper approach. Elected officials need to represent the electorate. And right now, Arizona, the state of Arizona is very aggressively trying to manage the situation through just the confiscation of the use of water, which I will agree is egregious in some places. They're just literally pumping thousands of gallons per minute out of certain counties. And that is the issue. But in order to remedy that, you cannot trample over all other constitutional rights. And so I expressed what I could and left it at that. So that's that's my report. So there's no other reports.
They have one addition to mine. I'll be at a meeting tonight. Payson.
Tea party tonight in Payson. Hi to Shirley Dye for. Okay. That lady is, I would call her a real warrior toward the water issues, and I think she's very involved and active, and so I appreciate that. She's got more energy than most of us. So if there's nothing else, we're going to move right into the work session that we have today, and that's item 6. It's just information and discussion to review the proposed changes to the Gila County Fairgrounds and provide direction to staff. Joseph, what do we have today?
Morning, Chairman, Board of Supervisors.
Morning.
As you mentioned, Chairman, we're just informatively going to press through some of these slides. Essentially, what we're trying to capture is some discussions to include a Board of Supervisors meeting that we've had over the past couple of months. That also included a walkthrough with some of the stakeholders, and to visually represent some of those discussions and potential changes. And part of that is to also shore up any additional changes or ideas, and we are all ears to be able to take that in. So just so that we're on the same page, the orientation of the fairgrounds, of course, off to the left, you have the 2 arenas. Off to the far right of the image, you have what is the old racetrack, and then to the south of the image, slightly left, is the prison. Everything in between, most people are pretty familiar. We just want to get orientation before we start zooming into some of the other images. Here highlights some of the utilization for those spaces. Again, some of the transitions over the years, the racetrack on the far right, multi-use grounds, it's been utilized significantly over the past couple of years, especially with the fair committee or the Gila County Fair. We've used it for overflow parking. We've used it for mud bogs, concerts, anything that you can pretty much put your mind to that would utilize a large amount of space or needing to land a lot of people. That's what we use it for. Of course, we got the grandstands, the exhibit hall, parking, RV lot, and then the livestock arena or 2 arenas in that area. And then towards the south, we have the livestock support, and that's where they used to hold a lot of the racehorse stock there. Some of the recommendations that were received from the Board of Supervisors and other stakeholders is rodeo events, area reconfiguration, looking at supporting 250 covered or other optional stalls, roughly 10 by 10, fresh sand in both arenas, equipment to maintain arenas, shade structures at both arenas, new livestock stalls, 175 plus in 4-H areas. Now these recommendations, again, they're just concept right now, so there's nothing really hitting the ground. We're just trying to, again, give the feedback that we received from the stakeholders and ensure that we're on the same path. One of the other things that we've covered in the past is the potential for relocating the mobile arena. And this is one of the potential reconfigurations and possibilities, right? So we step into that rear area for parking, and then where the parking is in this image, relocating the mobile arena and reconfiguring it so that we can repurpose or strategically use the stock pins. We've had a great deal of discussion over that, some really good site visits of opinions and perspectives and what would be most effective. But essentially, it would optimize the space to be able to have participants staying with participant, or staying in their area, and also creating a division between vehicular and animal and all that, being able to stay away from each other, no contact, or minimizing it. Again, just concept, we're exploring other options as far as how we can reconfigure that. We zoom back out, and then we're going to come back into the livestock area. Some of the recommendations was to look at the potential for demoing these facilities. If we demo these facilities, although they're still in use, we would have to find and create more space for livestock, whether that's something mobile. That's something that we'd still have to be able to bring before the Board of Supervisors to solidify what that looks like. But we are looking at the potential of demoing that. And what that would allow us to do, again, this is just concept from feedback, nothing set in stone here, but it gives us an idea to kind of look forward a little bit. We could use it for parking, more dry camping, and livestock support and additional stalls. Now at the very bottom, you'll notice the dry camping expanded. That expanded is just to be able to note that we are able to use that. It's not an official partnership, it's designated as other land. So we're not looking to do any critical infrastructure upgrades there, and we're not looking to make any large investments. In the past, it's been utilized for disposal of concrete, dirt, material, tires. It was a pretty big mess. We're starting to consolidate that and continue to clean that up. Over the past couple of years for fair, it has been a huge hit for dry camping. I think the past 2 years has been exponential in that utilization, and a lot of positive feedback from that. With that, I'd be happy to take any questions or take on any recommendations.
Okay, thank you, Joseph. Supervisor Humphrey.
Yeah, Joseph, thank you much. We've gone over some of this before. I don't have it in front of me today, but like I say, we do need, in speaking with, some of the people that have been there, and I talked to them about tearing down some of the old ones. They said, well, that sometimes they do use them. But kind of the way you drew it out with portables, we can do a lot of storage for horses and things like that with portables instead of the permanent ones, and create some more dry camp and areas like that. And I guess what my main focus is on our big events like junior high school rodeo, and then that roping that we had here not too long ago, because those bring in an awful lot of people to our community. So I would say their recommendations would probably be best in my book on what they would need and what they would want to in order to bring their functions to Gila County.
Yes, sir, Supervisor Humphrey. Appreciate the feedback. We'll look at setting up a couple of meetings with those end users and see what else we can extract to improve our area.
Okay, Supervisor Klein.
All good ideas, Joseph. I remember the day we all went and looked at the arena and the issues there. That by all means is a well-worthy project. So when you look at the fairgrounds as a whole, there's no end to what could really be done there. But my question would be, going forward, is money, dollars. Do we see any dollars out there that we could latch on to start some of these projects? I know we couldn't do the whole wish list it's going to be a working project by all means, but money is the big deal. Just from the sense of moving the arena around is a good chunk of change. So that's just a question that I have is, how much money can we put in there, or is there other money, grant monies out there that we can apply for and get? I don't know. The other thing is, like the old stalls, things like that. I do know that some of those can be used. So if we jumped the gun too fast and went in there and mucked them out and didn't have money to do something to fill back in the space, that could be an issue too. So, but I do see lots and lots of promise on things for the fairgrounds. It's just the dollars.
Roger that, Supervisor Klein. Appreciate the feedback. And to your point, we're looking at some grants. We're looking at other funding sources. Once we start solidifying some of the concepts and seeing where we can potentially want to move forward, prioritize it, and get some more solidified costs, then we'll start having probably deeper conversations on what we want to prioritize.
So in your opinion, Joseph, do you think the arena would be at the top of the priority list? Moving it around, is that what you're kind of looking at? If, with this big long list of potential projects?
Supervisor Klein, yes, sir. Reorientating that and making that an optimal space won't just feed the rodeo arena, but also future events such as the fair.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I may, being that money came up, Mr. Minlove, we got the high school rodeo finals wanting to be here in 2026. And we have a list of things that they're going to need in order to do that. Do we have any money to do that? Or do we have some money to be able to work towards that?
Mr. Chairman, Supervisor Humphrey, I would make a recommendation that it's one event, but I'm looking at the money that we have to invest to sponsor that high school rodeo event is an investment in the future. And it's something that would be required to put on other similar events, whether they're high school or whatever age. This is something that we have to do to those rodeo arenas. And so looking at it as a long-term investment for the county and the functionality of being able to sponsor those events, I would recommend that we use the LATCF funding for this specific one. It might be, I was thinking $250,000 of an investment that we would have to do to orient the arena and exchange out the dirt. The dirt that we got in there was at the base level, had large rocks in it. Those have come to the surface, so we need to get rid of that and have a new base, safety of the event participants. So that just in my mind, $250,000 investment for this event in March, and other events similar in the future at the fairgrounds.
Thank you very much. That's encouraging and positive. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
You bet.
Joseph, very close to the exact center of your aerial photo is a place that you've listed as parking. Is that paved? It's in between the RV and the big building there. And I'm looking at it.
Yes, sir.
Is it paved?
It is not. So currently, as it sits, there are facilities in its place, these ones that are up in the red. If we were to demo it, it would then be just dirt.
No, I don't think you're understanding where I'm talking about. It's that one right straight up from the center.
Oh, yes, sir. Just behind our main pavilion there.
Is
So it was paved at some point. Currently, the asphalt is degraded to the point of, at best, rubble.
Yeah.
But it's still usable for parking.
Overflow.
Yes, sir.
So I like the movement of the arenas. I think that makes a lot better sense. And adding parking where the one is right now. Is there room around there for vendors though? Like, I know the rodeos I've been to, there's lots of places you can purchase things, 10 by 10 booths. Is there enough room to really add that element into that area?
Supervisor Christian, there sure is. So in between the parking there and what you'd see be the lower arena, there's a fenced off area that's been used as a beer garden or a vendor area, and it's perfectly suited for something like that.
Okay. Because I know up in Payson, there's lots of vendors, and that's a good way of, first of all, getting some money, cash flow and then people that go to rodeos, they want to shop too, so.
Yes, sir.
Food and everything else, okay? But I really do like the movement of the arena. That to me looks good. And making the arenas functional with the sand and the stands and the parking necessary for that. Because I see this as a project place. This fairgrounds is something that we will be adding to over many more years.
Yes, sir.
As we work on it. So as far as the demolition of the other stalls that were part of the racing aspect, I would say that if they're not hurting anything, don't spend money there just yet if we don't have excess money. And when we need those gone, maybe make those gone at that point, or pull down one a year or two a year or something like that. So,
yes, sir.
What's that bigger area here that's X'd out on that? This bigger X'd area.
Yes, that area was used for material storage. When they're running the racetracks, different material. Still is used as kind of just a lay down yard. Any kind of material that either Public Works has or facilities, we just kind of stow it there.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Supervisor Humphrey?
No, I think I'm good.
Anything else, Supervisor Klein?
No, good job.
Okay, anything else, Joseph?
That's it from this side.
Okay, so you got your direction, and I appreciate that. So with that, I'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you.
All right, thank you.